youth leaders, people who knew me growing up from a little boy. They were old then, they were old when we got married, but they were the pillars of the church. And there's no question in my mind but that those people prayed for us, because that's the kind of people that they were. And that's part of the reason that Sharon and I are still here, and overall, it's almost been an embarrassingly smooth 50 years. You know, we all like to say, oh, this is tough and that's tough, and I suppose there were some bumps in the road. But frankly, I don't know how it could have been any better than it has been. And I thank God for that, and I thank Sharon for that. Now, so I digress. So we got married. So we got married, and then we went for a honeymoon up to Duluth for a week. Not Paris, but Gooseberry Falls the water was running. That was great. Lake Superior. We had a good time. I came back at the end of the week, and again, then it was time to go back to Mississippi. So again, it's we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I'll see you later. So I went back to school to finish up, and I told Sharon, my assumption is when school is done with in the fall, I will have my next assignment, and there is a good chance, depending on where it is, you'll be able to join me there. So sure enough, that fall, done with school, I got my assignment, and it's a place I've never heard of before or since. It was Gettysburg, South Dakota. There was a small air base there. It's gone now. I think it's a weather station now, but it's gone now. And so they had radar there, and that was my training. I was supposed to repair the radar that looks out for the Russian bombers coming over the horizon. That was kind of my job. But before I left, there was an offer made to me. And one of the things someone once told me before I ever went in, I don't know who it was, but they said, never volunteer for anything. And my attitude was pretty much just the opposite. My attitude was, and I don't know why, but if a door opens, go through it. And so the school said, how would you like to stay here and teach some of the same stuff I had just gone through? And I thought, South Dakota, the Gulf Coast. I know what I'm doing. So I called Sharon and said, I'm going to stay here, Sharon, come on down. And so she got on a plane and flew down to Mississippi, and now I had to buy my first car. So now here I am, what was I, 23 at that point. So I'm buying my first car, which happened to be a Ford, a 55 Ford. I was a Chevy man, but I figured my friends back home would never know that my first car was a Ford. So I bought that 55 Ford, picked her up at the airport. Then we had to find a place to live because there was no room on the base. So we found a little cottage, we'll call it. Not too far from the base. I say that kindly because it actually at one time had been a fishing shack. And it was part of an apartment complex, but they had these two fishing shacks down right on the back bay of Biloxi, and they had converted them into rental properties. So for $50 a month, we had a place to stay, it was furnished, and that covered the utilities. So I thought, we can handle that. You're young and married. I mean, what difference does it make, you know? This is no problem. So we lived there, and I am doing my teaching, and Sharon decides that she wants to get to work. I said, okay, you can find a job. That meant a second car. So I went out and found what was perhaps my all-time favorite car. Some of you remember the Austin Cooper, Mini Cooper. I found one of those, and she now had a car, and so things are going smoothly. I'm teaching from 6 until noon. She's working all day long, and everything's fine. But nothing is permanent in the military. So a year later, I get new orders. And now, I was to go to not far from Phoenix. Just west of Phoenix, there's an air base there. So we packed up our clothes, put everything in the back of the Ford in the trunk, put a hitch on the back of the Ford, hooked up the Mini to that, and headed west. And we arrived in Phoenix on a July day. Sun was shining. The Phoenix folks are smiling. You know what's coming. So we got to Phoenix, and The reason I remember it so well, I had never heard of temperatures of 110, 112 degrees. I didn't realize it got that hot, but it was. And the accessories on the Ford included a radio. I think that was it. So you roll down the windows. But that's, again, no problem. Can handle that. I didn't realize how hot it was, though, until I looked in the rear view mirror of the car. And we've always had animals, dogs and cats. We had a cat, and it was sitting up on the pile of clothes. The cat, when I looked at it, they did the double take in the mirror. The cat looked as if someone had picked the cat up and dropped it in a bucket of water. I had no idea that cats could sweat. How was I to know? She was drenched. So I thought, okay, we got to find a place, motel, which is not hard to do in July in Phoenix. There are a lot of vacancies. So we found a place, but we had one problem, and that was when we were coming down the mountain in New Mexico. To slow the car down, I shifted in the second gear, and that was the end of the clutch. And so I stepped on the brakes, and we were able to bring things to a halt. I had a spare car behind me, so I drove down, got mechanics, they towed the car off the hill. They fixed it the next day. We found a motel, stayed there. That was all fine. The difficulty, though, is now we're in Phoenix, and we had no money. This was just not planned. And there was no such thing as plastic, at least to me, there was no such thing as plastic back in '66. So now what do we do? So I thought, I don't know, could we sell the cat? So the alternative was, all right, we have no choice. We have to call the parents. I mean, desperate times, desperate things. We have to call the parents. And so I thought, all right, my folks, Sharon's dad, why don't we call your dad? He might be a little bit better off than my folks. But for me personally, that's a bit of a problem. So, I'm envisioning a conversation that goes something like, hello, Mr. Christensen? This is Joe Perrin, sir. Yeah, that's right, your son-in-law, sir, yes. How are you? Oh, you're good, good. How are we? We're fine, sir. Well, actually, we're fairly good. The fact of the matter is, sir, we have a small problem, and I was wondering if you could help us. We seem to have just run short of cash. I was wondering if you could help us. And I understand, sir. I know what my responsibilities are. I was doing the best I could. I know. Oh, and I remember that great day. The vows, yeah. Love, honor, and cherish. I do that, sir. I think I'm doing okay on that one. And sickness and in health, you're right, sir. Sickness and in health, I mean, if she needs an aspirin, I'm on it. So I've got that covered. And I think I also said, for richer or for poorer. That should count for something. I mean, this being kind of the poorer portion of those vowels, right? That, there's some significance there. So, what's that? It's funny you mention that, sir. I thought of selling something too, but there's no market for a wet cat. That's just not. Why is it wet? Well, cats sweat. I didn't know that. So I didn't know what else we could do. What did you say? Maybe she could sell some of her shoes, sir? Now that's a joke, right? That's a good one. That's good. I like that joke. Anyway, that was not a conversation I wanted to have with my father-in-law. I was falling short of whatever I thought my responsibilities were to be. So I did what the only other thing I said, Sharon, call your dad. So that took care of that problem. And he was generous enough to immediately wire us money, and that's all we needed to kind of get over the hump. So we saved the cat, we found a motel, and then we checked into the base the next day. And before long, we're back on track again, and everything is going along very smoothly. And Sharon found a job, as she doesn't want to sit home all day. So she found a job at an insurance company I'm going to the base and I'm learning something different now. I'm learning aircraft navigational equipment. But everything is going smoothly. I'm driving the Ford, she's driving the Mini. One weekend I was out driving the Mini. I don't remember if she was with me or not. And I'm out on the highway driving about 65. And I noticed that the temperature gauge on the car, on this 105-degree day, is coming up. And I thought, boy, this is a bit of a problem. I could almost see that needle coming up. Now, this car is about to blow a gasket. And so I could pull over and sit, although it's going to take a long time for the car to cool down at that temperature. And I thought, what else can I do? Well, one thought I had was down by my right knee, there were some louvers. And I thought, what if I opened those louvers and flipped this toggle switch? What's going to happen? It's going to blow heat into the car, right? Where is that heat coming from, if not the motor, right? It works in the wintertime. So I did it. Opened the louvers, flipped on the switch, out came the heat, the needle dropped back just like that. I couldn't believe it. Look at that, I thought. I saved this car. And now you're probably thinking, and it's true, there's no question in my mind, I could have fried an egg on the dash of the car. I mean, it was hot, but the point was I saved the car. So that was a little trick that I think I had to use more than one time. Anyway, the next thing, new orders, take off overseas. We'll meet again. This time she couldn't come with me. A year later, I come back, and now I'm almost at the end of my 4 years. And she met me at the airport. We were going to head to my folks' place. I thought, why don't we stop and see my dad, who's just down the road at Highland Park. He worked at Poe's, the old supermarket. He was a butcher there. And so I walked in and surprised him. He gave me a big hug. He thought I looked awfully thin, which I was at that time. But, you know, Phoenix, they talk about that as being a dry heat. Vietnam was damp, you know, so I sweat a lot. The cat would have been proud. But he put me on the scale just to see what did I weigh in at. 163 pounds. It's a weight that I have not seen. Probably a day, maybe 2 days after that. I've never seen that weight again. But anyway, we finished out our 4 years in Arizona. The last 4 months we went back there. Then I was discharged. One door I did not choose to go through was to re-up. If I were single, I most likely would have done that because I liked the life. But I thought I wanted to raise a family, so I wanted some stability. So we went back home, settled in. A year later, our first son. 3 years later, our second son. And 5 years later, our third son. And everything has been smooth sailing. Thank you very much. Sure.
Hi, I'm really honored to be here at Sharon's 50th wedding anniversary. I used to babysit her. But then I'm her aunt also, and we've been very close. We've grown up almost together, and things. So I'm really honored to be here. I'm her dad's youngest sister, and it's just been a fun life knowing Sharon and Joe, and meeting all my family that I don't see an awful lot of, but good to see all the boys and as they grow up and stuff. So Sharon, I'm really proud to be here.
Where'd the MC go? Joe. That's the point that he grabs the microphone and says something funny. Makes everybody laugh.
say a word or two, or? No, we good? All right. Well, thank you again for everybody. Oh, Mom? Come on down.
Still working on her speech in her head.
No speech. I just want to thank everybody that came today. It's really a blessing to us to see our family and friends here. It's been a long time, 50 years, and it has gone by so quickly. And it isn't without some bumps in the road, but we've managed to carry on, and with the Lord's hand, I wouldn't be here. And so I just appreciate His guidance and His touch and His impressions in my life, and I am truly grateful. We have a tradition at this church that we like to sing a blessing song, and I would like to do that now because I would love to have God bless you and keep you. So Holly's going to start us off.
And part of our tradition is that we bless someone with our hands. If you'd like to extend your hands towards Sharon and Joe, I think that would be a wonderful blessing for them too. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious, gracious, gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace.
Okay, well, that concludes all the speeches and presentations for today. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out. There's dessert if you haven't had it. If you arrived after everybody started talking, there's still some food left if you're still got a little bit of hunger. All right? Thank you.
Want to say anything, Connor? Anything else? Okay.
That was so nice, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
So I sit down and wait. What are you doing, Grandpa? It's okay, my hair's back.
My goodness, it's Chica. It's Chica's birthday at Freddy's.
Already heard that one? Okay, what do you want? Bobby and Andy got her sister.
Kind of like paddling up in the boundary line. That's 5 quarters for the wall.
Yeah. And that's the key right there.
What's it like?
How do you know what you think? Brandon home.
So, oh yeah, and then so after
Here's the sun and all that.
and I don't tolerate it. I don't beat on it. Same thing.
Ready for it?
There's so much ice. I wanted it during all the speeches, so I didn't want to go over.
Beef, you should go get some of that. Yes.
And the chicken was very.
Yeah, huge.
Really?
Yeah, really.
You want to go there? So whoever got this one, okay. I'm gonna do something. This is the TV show. TV shows. Watch. Okay. Zoom in.
Leave it alone, honey. You're done playing with this now, please. Leave it alone.
I just want to look at it.
He's recording right now.
I know, but I'm not touching anything.
Did you give Grandma and Grandpa a hug? Both of them? Good job. Great job. Did you say it in front of the camera? Okay.
Happy anniversary.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Like Jen.
I was worried about whenever I get trauma to the All right, do you want me to take this? It's empty. Is that ours? Or are you using it to study? Connor? I gotta get my that's my phone.
We didn't plan on a program, but that boy said he would say something. I thought, yeah, good. Did ya?
Where's your electric?
Okay. Thomas Wolfington.
I saw a picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I was coming to see you guys. I'm out. Bending over.
It should have face recognition, so the box is
By the desserts? Oh, perfect. All right.
You see us all? I can see you all. That's very good. All right. 1, 2, 3, smile. Wait, your fingers in front. There you go. Let me take one more.
Oh, and you just took about 100.
I saw a number going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, what a credit. Is this a movie or what am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, it can be a movie.
It does like a...
It does on first. It does on first.
She put it on Ryan, good job, so it's like this. She finally got it off, she was huge black bag. Oh,
Now, there's an idea. I'll send it.
I think I'm gonna try it out.
Mark, we're up north fishing up on, he always goes up there. Fish up there. And Carol had an engagement with her friend, Reagan friends, I think, probably on fire on Mother's Day. Yeah.
I always have a family reunion. I'm gonna enlarge it this time and invite all of you guys.
It's always planned to come around soon.
Get this done.
Didn't have any idea.
Some of my family.
What number from White
Big crowd. It was perfect for a big.
My house? No, it was at our house.
Yeah, I know, but we got one at the.
Hey, you! Principal Feast.
Like water slide. Yeah.
My kids stayed in the former. I was so mad at them.
Come on, be social.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
That's what us kids do.
And your boys are getting so big. Pretty soon you'll have a wedding to go to.
Let's give them a couple
more years.
Some of you more years.
Tom is working on it, Carver's working on school.
That is so fair.
All right, thanks for coming.
It was good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Marcus is moved up to Rainer now, so. And there's Andy.
Inside and out,
Marcus, I tell him what Marcus is doing.
Well, during the winter months when he's not working, he's
And who was he with?
had a job changing courses on his big electric motors.
Yes, that's good.
He's been traveling all around the country.
Usually, occasionally not.
Marcus, grandson.
Marcus, that's Gary. Farming lives in Zimmerman. Gary lives in Zimmerman. The other two are lives in
Until it starts to get cold again.
Oh, Mandy. Is that a sign of relief or is that
He's ignoring me.
Did you get that for your 50th
Yes,
anniversary?
the purple.
This one here?
Yeah,
What is that again?
Tanzanite.
Tanzanite. That's really pretty. Yeah. And this is.
Oh, she worked hard for it.
That's pretty pretty too.
Yeah, I don't have many chances to wear it.
I know.
But you did a nice job. Everybody enjoyed it.
Could have been longer. I cut it short when I got the high side.
Good old father-in-laws, huh?
Yeah, well, I saw a couple of people swinging their feet, so I thought.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Tom's like, I don't think I ever lived in Phoenix.
Really?
Well, he doesn't remember, was he at your wedding? I said, well, of course, you were at your wedding.
Yes, he's about this tall.
That's what I was going to say, yeah, younger than little. And then he says, Bruce was up in Duluth, and I said, no, Bruce was up in 13. Yes, I bet Bruce was there too.
Yes, it was, the three of them. They were just little steps.
Yeah, the pictures are amazing, you and your bride. Hair. No, holy hair.
And now they wear it straight. Much easier to take care of.
Yeah. To ride in the car. Yeah.
Did you have some dessert?
Oh, I think we had some everything. Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, that is good show. Yeah.
Are you still busy doing your plants and things?
Oh, yes. Spring plantings are trying to be upon us. We were supposed to install 2 rooftops this last week because of the weather.
Who's rooftops?
We're doing, well, it used to be Campbell Advertising, which is a brand new one on 5th and Marquette downtown, and then Hurricane. Advertising for both.
You haven't done WCCO?
We have. We did years ago. And then they actually, when they got this whole fluff, they kind of stopped making the stuff. We worked on it for a number of years. We're going to roll that baby over there. Now the flower Facebook, yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting year though. I mean, with everything that's going on with Target, it's been interesting.
And now I see Target coming out of Canada and Walmart's taking over their stores up there.
Yeah, to say the least. So, yeah, it's been an interesting year so far. But, you know, we're still staying busy. Absolutely.